Hi everyone, so we're going to look at 26.2 today. So here's a little picture to get you into the lesson. 26.2 are the properties of alpha, beta and gamma radiation. Learning objectives would be define alpha and beta gamma radiation, explain why it's dangerous, and then describe the properties of alpha, beta and gamma radiation. So a lot of this is GCSE. There's just some experiments at the end that you need to have more notes on, and then the terminology is a little bit more specific than at GCSE. But we'll run through and it'll give you a good recap. So Marie Curie was one of the discoverers of radioactivity. She showed how radioactive compounds can be used, can be separated and then identified in the early 1900s. And in 1903, Marie Curie, Pierre Curie, who was her husband, and Henri Becquerel won the Nobel Prize for Physics for the discovery of radioactivity. Marie was the first woman to be awarded the Nobel Prize. So all three of them won the prize. And in 1906, her husband died. Not of actual radioactive consequences. He was run over by a cart. In 1911, Marie Curie was awarded the second Nobel Prize in chemistry for the discovery of the elements radium and polonium. She's actually not only the only woman to ever receive a second Nobel Prize, she's the only person to ever receive a second Nobel Prize. And she wasn't actually going to be awarded it. It was only because her friend was on the board. They decided that they weren't going to give it to her. This might have been the first one actually, because she was a woman. But her friend was on the board and says that she couldn't be discriminated against because of being a woman. So I think that was for the first one. In 1934 she died aged 67, which is still relatively old, but she died due to chronic illnesses now known to be associated with long-term radiation exposure. Interestingly, after her husband died, she had an affair with a man, and her love letters to him got published in the paper, much like a tabloid newspaper would today. And a lot of her work was seen to be not very good because of what she was doing in her personal life. Possibly a view of how women were viewed and maybe still viewed in science today. This picture was taken at a conference around the time, so you can see how it was dominated by men, the field of physics, but you can see some really famous scientists here. All these people are working on atoms and atomic structure. So you've got Planck here, the Planck constant, Marie Curie, Lorentz did. When I went to university, I learned a lot about Lorentz transformations, which are to do with maths. I can't really remember them though. Here's Albert Einstein. You've got Compton here, Dirac. Okay. The others, Schrödinger. All massive scientists here, though, working in the field of basically quantum physics, or what would become quantum physics. So we looked a bit at Rutherford's investigation last lesson. So Rutherford wanted to find out what radioactivity was emitted by radioactive substance and what caused it. So his discovery was that radiation ionizes the air, making it conduct electricity. So he could make a detector then to measure the amount of radiation due to its ionizing effect. So radiation detectors use the effect that most of the radiation produced will either make the air molecules positive or negative, and then he could detect them that way. There were two types, alpha and beta. Alpha was easily absorbed and beta was more penetrating. Gamma radiation, the most penetrating, was then discovered a year later. So if you look here, we do some stuff on magnetic fields, but this isn't basically a magnetic field going into the page. And what you can see that so magnetic fields affect electric charges. So because alpha is charged positive, it gets pushed one way or pulled round one way, and beta gets pulled round the other. And alpha gets affected more because it has a bigger charge than beta. So let's go through some of these properties. Some of this is GCSE, some of it is now. We just need to make sure the terminology is good for A-level. So the nature of the radiation. So alpha, 2 protons and 2 neutrons. So it's the helium of the nucleus of a helium atom. There's no electrons, okay? And the 2 protons give it a charge of +2. You then have beta, beta minus, and then beta plus. So beta minus is when an electron is emitted, and then beta plus is when a positron is emitted. And then you have gamma, which is a photon, and we measure its energy in megaelectron volts. So most of this you'll be familiar with from the particles module. Range in air. Alpha particles have a fixed range. It's because they have a specific size, so when they're emitted they have a specific energy, up to about 100 millimeters. Okay, so not very far. Beta can travel about a meter. Gamma can travel through a vacuum. It can travel infinitely far, but it follows the inverse square law, which we do a little bit of work on later. Are they deflected in a magnetic field? So yes, alpha is deflected, beta is more easily deflected, but it's in the opposite direction, and then gamma is not deflected. Absorption. Alpha is stopped by paper or thin metal foil. It's quite big, so it's stopped fairly easily. I like to think of it as imagining the England rugby team, for one reason. They're stood in front of you for whatever reason, and they're like in a scrum. And alpha getting through there is like you trying to get through there. The rugby players are like air particles. They're bigger than you, okay? But they're of a similar size. So when the alpha tries to get through, if you try to get through the scrum, you would find that very difficult. Your energy would be lost very quickly. Whereas beta particles are very, very thin and small. So if you think about the England rugby team, again, they're very, very big, but then you think about a tiny wasp, there'd be lots of gaps between them because you're much, much smaller, so you would be able to get through easier. Gamma radiation is a photon. It's more difficult to stop. So it is stopped or significantly reduced by several centimetres of lead and sometimes concrete. Okay. Ionisation. So alpha will produce about 10,000 ions per millimetre in air at standard pressure, whereas beta only produces about 200 ions per millimetre. So you can see that alpha is a lot more ionising, so it will produce a lot more ionising air particles than the beta. Gamma actually has a really weak ionising effect because it has to hit an electron exactly on, okay, and then that electron needs to have the exact amount of energy to be emitted from the atom. So that electrons are very, very small, and so for that photon to hit that electron is not very doesn't happen very often. But gamma, you can get a lot of gamma photons in a gamma ray because they're tiny, aren't they? So you can get lots and lots of photons in a gamma ray. It's just that they have to hit a specific electron to actually ionize the atom. So let's look at how much energy each particle or photon has. So for an alpha, you get a constant amount of energy for the alphas, and it depends on the speed at which they're ejected. Betas, their energy will vary up to a maximum, and it's because they require some energy to get out of the nucleus of the atom, and so depending on where they are in the atom depends on how much energy they have when they're emitted. And then gamma, that's constant for a given source. So what do I want you to do for this lesson? I've sent this document to you. You don't need to keep it like this. You can do your own notes if you want, or you can use this document. In the book, 26.2, it has details of these 5 experiments that you need to know. So I want you to reduce the information down to maybe 5 key bullet points and have a picture of the experiment. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to write in sentences. I want you to bullet point each experiment, reduce it down, and then have a quick diagram so that you can see these experiments. So again, there's ionisation, cloud chamber observations, absorption test, Geiger tube, and then their range in air. And then upload your version of this into Classroom for my marking. Okay, thank you very much.